Good morning. Good morning and welcome to Cynthia on Demand. This is our energy medicine edition. So we just get everything recorded and we'll get started. So welcome. There we go. All right, we are set. People are coming in. I have workmen here jackhammering in the bathroom, so they're actually quiet at the moment. Ripping up the cement floor. What does that mean? What does that mean? All right. So today we're doing the first half hour live as usual, but I've invited a bunch of people, and some will watch the replay as usual. And usually I come on and I'm sharing, mystic, metaphysical, health and wellness sort of ways of knowing. And what I've noticed lately, it's not what I've noticed, it's coming back around, right? If I'm speaking with you or working with you, or I do a live, or I do a class, a series or whatnot, and you speak to me, because a lot of you don't, but the ones of you that speak to me, I listen. I listen with my whole self. Hey, Kate, I listen with my whole self, right? If I'm here to share what you're needing, well, I do that. But you may not understand fully what you need, right? So what do you want? And a lot of you don't know what you want. Or you may have an idea. So if I asked you now, good evening, Jen. If I asked you now, what do you, yeah. Oh, you're not fair. All right. So let's give Deb some love. We give Deb some love. We give all of you, let's build the container, which we do always anyway. So even just sitting here and listening, if you don't feel well or you've got some challenges, and particularly for Deb, because she's mentioned it, we'll see if we can shift that and get an understanding of that, right? Because as I was saying, I was looking at what people are needing, and particularly the new people that are coming on that have never seen me before, don't know who I am, what I do, and whatnot. I've been around forever. I've been around for like more than 30 years, right, doing this work. And, there's people coming into my field that have no understanding of their bodies, whether that's physiologically or energetically or spiritually. And what I noticed and have been shown more and more is the importance of all the spectrum of the work that I do. I stopped sharing so much of the energy first aid and the energy medicine because I was focusing on, I'm a visionary, I was focusing on what's beyond that. However, when we're going to the advanced metaphysics or the pure metaphysics, working with fear directly, fear of love, that can be very challenging for the ego. That can be very challenging for the human, the little human, okay? So this is what I've been shown. We're going to bring back some of the, I say basics. However, we'll see where we go. Yesterday I was going over, I'm writing a book. I'm writing many books. I'm always writing something. But I was going over an older program that I shared around the world, actually. Subliminal Stress, the Invisible Shadow. Did anybody do that? Some of you may have. If you're watching from Australia, you may have done it live with me in person. Whoa, in person. And that work reminded me, as I was going through those videos and those courses and that information, it reminded me how potent and how important that knowing is, and that information still needs to get out there, right? So we're going to touch on that. So that's my little introduction. I'm Cynthia Harrison. I'm a mystic medicine woman, among other things. And we are going to touch into, okay, what's going on for you? What's going on for the human? And I won't say now because it's been happening for as long as I can remember, see, view. And we're in this soup of geomagnetics, right? We're in this soup of invisible energies. And we're impacted by those energies in every moment. Some of us are more sensitive than others, right? Now, in saying that, what is sensitivity? So are any of you sensitive? I had a bunch of emails from people saying they couldn't make it live, but they will watch the replay. So maybe you're a sensitive. Hey, Lisa. What is a sensitive? So we're working with super sensitive. Yeah, okay. So we can look at sensitivity. Deb's saying she's sensitive. Pretty much all of you watching are, I would say, right? I think more and more of us are feeling more, which is great. Why do you think we're feeling more? And as I say that, I get a little flash of some of us are feeling less, but there are more and more of us feeling and then having to make the decision whether we want to continue to feel. Does that make sense? I was telling the story the other day, actually, to my husband. I was saying, why I want to feel, regardless of what that is because when I was young, I couldn't feel. I was shut down. I was so sensitive. I shut down, right? So you could punch me, pinch me, cut me, hurt me. So what? Right? And when I worked on the trauma, right? And you got to remember, so some of you don't know that I had near-death experience at 10, between 10 and 11. There was a lot of trauma in my early childhood and illness and injury, right? So turning off, right? How we protect ourselves, right, is an adaptive strategy. It's almost, there's different levels of freeze, right? But you can shut down to get away from the world. So you're still in the world, but you're shut down so that you're not feeling. So many of you sensitives have done that because you would feel when somebody would walk, like, it sounds bizarre, but I would hear the animals talking to me, not actually speaking words, like, not that, didn't need sort of way. But even now, like the trees are moving and whatnot, and I feel it. Like there's the beauty and the whole spectrum. Do you hear me? The whole spectrum, love and fear. And when you're working to, on your spiritual path, or just to be as alive in this moment in time as possible, means feeling and being all of who you are. So I didn't want to shut down. I didn't want to be resilient. I didn't want to turn away from the pain and the suffering and the information, right? So hear that. All our sensitivity is data and information coming into the system. Say it again, all of our sensitivity. So if you're super sensitive, what's happening is there's a super highway of information. Think of yourself as a computer, and the fiber optics, or the internet, we used to talk about, we had all the plug-in ones and all of that. Remember that? Some of you probably don't, but some of you would. And what speed your internet was. And sometimes our internet would be very slow. If you lived in the country, it would be very slow dial-up internet. And some places in Australia probably still are dial-up, which still have that plug-in, and it goes, right? So how much information you are receiving and how fast. And when your system, whatever we want to call it, our nervous system, our energetics, our energetic nervous system, we'll talk about that, how that is able to receive all of that input is a way of conceptualizing how you are feeling it, sensing it, knowing it, right? If your system, I used to teach it as high performance vehicles, because I used to, when I was very young, like very early, like 18, 19, 20, we did drag racing with motorbikes, right? Right. So we built motorbikes, we we did all that sort of stuff. So I understood the power of the input and output, right? How to make it go faster, what's happening with the jets, with the different parts, what's happening with you physically, with the different parts of your organs, energetically and physically, how they're able to take in or not take in that information. And so I said the other day that, if our cells are flipping or moving or shifting in how they're able to receive information, that will be diagnosed as certain types of disease, right? Too much of something, not enough of something. Are you following me? Am I making sense so far? Well, Rebel's talking to me. She nodded. Okay, I'm going to be talking to you then, Rebel, because I'm going to get some, otherwise I just feel like I'm talking into the ether. All right, so let's round it up. We're sitting in this world in a soup of geopollution, invisible stressors, potentially. So when that information comes in, our system responds or reacts to that, okay? If we are already at our fill, we're full, we're already full, we will shut down or fight, react in some way. So when I was a kid, I was full. I had to shut down, right? my whole systems were like, I literally died and came back to life. Like my systems were, I was in hospital, like I was out of school for 2 months at 10. Like there was a lot of stuff that I had to build back up, right? And so the world didn't stop. I had to adjust, and I had to adjust quickly, and I couldn't. And back in those days, this was in the 70s, right? There was no one to help you. So think about that for yourself. Like, what are you going through? What have you gone through that your system was like at its peak performance or at its fill? It's full, and there's still more wanting to come in, or people wanting more from you. Have you ever been just really mentally exhausted or physically? But I relate more to mentally exhausted. My body can go and go and go, but my head, right? Oh, okay. Oh, I just lost my hearing. You're full, right? So somebody comes and asks something from you, or put a scenario in. Do you relate to that? So I could give you some scenarios. It could be like at work. I don't know what work you do, and you're really just trying to get the job done, and you can't be sort of thinking or doing anything else. You just got enough to stay focused to get that job done, and somebody else comes in and wants something from you. And it could just be a conversation. It could be one question, or it could be your boss or a co-worker or a partner or a child saying, I need your help now. Or they need something. Someone wants something from you. Not in a bad way, but you're already at your capacity. So what happens? What happens? Either say it in your head, say it out loud, or put it in the chat. Like, what happens to you? Think of a moment where so for instance, you might get your prickles up, right? Your aura could get prickly. Or if you don't understand your energetics, it may be that you feel the anger or resentment or frustration, and it's almost like trying to push the person away, right? Do you say, no, I have enough on my plate here? Or do you go with them and then get angry at them? Someone said get overwhelmed. Yeah. So the overwhelm then creates a behavior. So the overwhelm is the feeling of like almost, well, it comes in different ways, but for me, it feels like my head's going to explode, right? I can't think anymore. My brain just can't take any more information. I'm at capacity. And so this all relates to our fight, flight, freeze. It all relates to our stress response, but it also relates to our energetics and how we can navigate, regulate, and build our capacity to not get to the overwhelm, not get to a place where we feel like we're going to crack. Have you ever felt that? Like you literally feel like you're going to just crack in half or lose the plot or have a meltdown. Like I'm sure most of us have at some point, even if it was when we were kids, right? So what's that got to do with today? So I wrote in the email and in the post, yes, Jen says frequently, yeah. I'm sure we all do. If we're really honest with each other, because this is how the human works. This is our capacity. Our nervous system is, out there, and our energies out there, because we have an energetic nervous system, and a physiological nervous system. They're intricately connected, obviously, and they're out there like a forward scout. So I don't know if you know what a forward scout is in the army. The forward scout is the one that goes out first to see if there's any snipers. Do you know how long their lifespan is? Every I don't know if you know this, that so I'm ex-infantry in the Australian Army, and I was a section commander, so I had to know the lifespan of each person in that formation. And the forward scout, 3 seconds. As soon as they go out, if there's something out there, bam, right? So any forward scouts out there, hats off to you. I've met many that were in, many conflicts and whatnot, and I understand what their nervous system had to go through to do their job, right? So why am I telling you that? We have, different roles, different capacities for those roles. And if, you're thrown into this world through birth and you got to get on. So what is your system doing, and how can you negotiate, dance with that? So I just realized the time, so I'm going to move on. I was thinking about this yesterday, as I said, and I'm going to continue to teach on some of this, probably on Tuesdays. So we meet here Tuesdays and Thursdays, but Thursdays it's in my afternoon, probably your evening. So I'll send an email about that. So Tuesdays and Thursdays we do these lives. And I'm feeling from yesterday that I'm going to start teaching how to navigate these energies, because some of you are more advanced, right? But you're never too advanced to be supporting your systems, right? With what I call, some of it is energy medicine first aid. So when you start to feel overwhelmed, what you can do, but also what you can do to prevent yourself from getting there. Because remember what I said, the reason that you're getting to that point of overwhelm is because your system's not able to integrate and receive the amount of information coming in. So some days it feels like it's just coming in more and faster, but it's not. Think about that. It's not. You are in every moment swimming in a sea of data, invisible frequencies, radio waves, all the EMFs, the very low frequency. I'll teach you about that at some point. That's the stuff that really gets the human system, right? Very low frequency. So, it relates to our brainwave states, right? So, most of you know sort of theta, delta, alpha, beta, gamma. They're not in order, but, I think I got them all. But there's so many because science stopped talking about anything over, I think it's like 30, 40, let's say 40 hertz, right? Which is a measurement of frequency right? So if you've heard about the Schumann resonance, right? So we can talk about that in the future too, and how that impacts. Now, it's not actually that, because that's the heartbeat of the earth, the pulse of the earth, 7.83 hertz, right? So let's say 8 hertz, but 7.83, but 8 hertz. I just told you over 30 hertz, right? So there's science about how our systems and how bacteria and how our wellness or illness are impacted by these frequencies, yeah? And how when we put magnets, a magnetic field near a bacteria or a extremely low frequency near a bacteria and what it does to the bacteria. Right? These are magnets. And why that's important to us. So I'll go into that more as we go along, but the gist of it is creating bacteria that is basically immune or non-reactive to antibiotics. So you ask, you know, any of you, I don't take antibiotics, but some of you might, and that's cool. But how many of you do they work for now? How do they work? You'll hear it over and over that antibiotic isn't working as well as it did. Why? Well, it's connected to what I just told you. I don't make this stuff up. My background, I'm a social scientist. My background, my research is around this stuff. My dad spent his life studying. He's an expert, a world expert on magnetism, right? And these fields. And you can bet, I was talking to somebody the other day about these fields and how we know about them, because they all start in the military first, right? And they find out that then they harm people, so they stop using them. I'm here over the weeks. We are going to start looking at how we can build our system or strengthen our system, understand our system. So when I say system, I'm talking on, you know, physical and energetic, right? So that we can then, for those of you that are on your more sort of mystical, spiritual path of awakening, ascension, descension, soul embodiment, that sort of, right? Some of you just want to feel better. Some of you just want to be well. Some of you just want to be healthy, right? So this is where we start, that understanding. But once we've got that earth aspect of us, right, because I spoke to a lady yesterday. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Yeah. And she doesn't know me for anybody. First time we met, and she said she's so expanded. So her frequency is very high, right? So going into that gamma, right? Gamma, you know, over 40 hertz is high consciousness, right? But if you can't, your system can't navigate that amount of input, it will start to be overwhelmed, push away, all the rest of it. So we can talk about it from health and wellness, right? You start to feel it, you feel overwhelmed and all the rest of it. Or we can start to talk about it in how our energetics start to function with that, or what we might call it a spiritual emergency. We're not able to earth it, ground it, anchor it here. So we're having these sometimes blissful, beautiful, expanded experiences, but the earth, the world is on fire. This is what a lady said to me yesterday. I've seen that. I've seen it the whole way along. I explain it this way. I say we can be high frequency. We're working on our, you know, our vibration, our frequency, but we're low tone, which is our human. And unless you take your human with, well, you're not actually taking your human with you. You're bringing the systems together, heaven and earth, right? So that you're walking as all that you are. You're not trying to get away from who you are, okay? So before we move on, because I went on a little bit, I'm going to give you a couple of energy techniques before we go over to our mastermind. And so this is how it works for those of you that are new. We do about half an hour, sometimes 40 minutes, and sometimes I go over time, but, you know, usually half hour, 40 minutes. Don't laugh, Rebel. Don't you laugh. I always go over time. But around that, right? And then we have a moment and shut down the live, and then we move over to the inner circle, which is a paid membership. So if you're part of that membership, there's a whole big library there now, isn't there, ladies? I don't even know how many videos are there now, but it's like a school in itself, right? So if you want to be part of that, there is a link there, or send me a message, and you can come and join us, or just hang out with the live stuff. And if you want more, then you can think about that later. So stomach. So I'm always talking about triple warmer, spleen, and all these other energies. So we will go into that as we go along. But today, because of time, and I want to give you something that's powerful, in my opinion. Stomach. Why is stomach important? Okay, I'll get back to you, Jen. I did see that, but it's a double booking, so I need to make another time with you, but I'll email you directly, in about an hour or so. So we'll sort out a time for you. So stomach. So yes, you're talking to me. Awesome. Grounding. Yes. Right. Why? How is stomach related to grounding? See, now I gotcha. I thought, yeah. Think about where stomach meridian is. Those of you that don't know, I'll show you in a moment. But those of you that know, think about where stomach meridian ends. Do you know where it ends? At the toe, the second toe. Look at you go. Gold star. Yeah. All right. So stomach meridian starts, you don't need to know exactly, but it starts on the face. It swirls around the face. It goes down the neck, down the whole torso, down the legs, and ends off the second toe. Deb's saying discharge of energy off second toe. Yes. But what else is the second toe? This is advanced energetics. So if you don't know, that's cool. If you know, I'm like, great job. I'm going to tell you regardless. And it may not make sense to some of you. It doesn't have to. You just need to trust me to a point where you'll work that energy, right? The second toe, this second toe. Oh, I should have drawn it this way. Hang on. I should draw it this way. All right, let's see. Just say that's your foot. Can you see that? Probably not. There we go. You see that? Off the second toe, there's a conduit, an energetic conduit. And again, this is advanced energetics. So, I can't give you the whole lot right now, but it just will give you an understanding. If that stomach meridian, any of you that get stomach migraines, I'm going to give you something for that too. This all relates. I used to get stomach migraines every month, in fact, since I was, very young, like 15, something like that. And the doctor used to crack my head. Horrible. Didn't work. And they wanted to put me on all these tablets, and I never wanted to take all the tablets because it was stuff that, now I know was all addictive stuff. I never took it though, right? I work my energies. So the stomach meridian, or the stomach pathway, the stomach fiber optic, right, that runs through your body in a particular pathway, goes all the way around your face, down the whole torso, down your legs, and off both second toes. Then if you're humming, it will have a conduit. Every system, electrical system, needs to be earthed. Your refrigerator, your radio, your what are other appliances, they need to be earthed In Australia, in our plugs, we have a positive, negative, neutral. It's 3 plugs. Not quite sure how it works in America. There's got to be some sort of earthing there. Otherwise, you're going to get a shock. You're going to get, right? It's got to be an earthing there. It's probably in the wiring. I'll have to ask my daughter. She's an electrician. But there's a tube, an energetic tube, so to speak, that will come off that. The third toe is the ground. Discharge of the second toe. The third toe is the ground. The second, I work the second toe. The third, no, I don't use the third toe. Tell me more about that, Deb. I use the second toe. Why? Because, well, there's 2 other grounds. So there are 3 grounds, Deb, so that might be what you're thinking about. But I'm going to say this for you because this you'll get this. So there's a ground off the baby toe. There's a ground off the kidney 1, and there's a ground off the stomach toe, right? But we're not going to go into that right now. All I want to tell you is about the stomach. But I know, Deb, you are more advanced in your energy medicine and whatnot. So yeah, I'm just thinking about that third toe. The third toe is not a ground for how I see it and how I work it. So often you have a block in this second toe in stomach, which can create stomach upsets, stomach migraines. It can cut you off from the top to the bottom, because if stomach meridian is going through the whole body and off the second toe, right? Something like that. So that's your head, that's your torso, they're your legs. If you have energy just spinning around up here, it cuts the head off from the body or the body off from the head, so the energy's not running in a pathway. Yeah. So Deb's saying yes, it's the second toe. However, in acupuncture journals, the third toe has a subtle pathway, inner pathway off third toe. Yeah, every toe has something, but these are the 3. Yeah. So thanks for that. Yeah. Sorry, I had to come back to this. So we have these conduits, right? Baby toe is bladder, this is kidney, this is stomach. But let's stay with stomach for a moment. Come to just under your cheeks, right? There's a bone there, just under the bone, in line with your iris, the little black part of the, right? As much as you can. And just give it a rub and just see if that's tender. That, when I used to fly a lot, I still do, but I don't have any of this anymore because they're just in a different habitual pattern now, right? They don't go out like they used to. But I would, when I was flying, I would lean my elbows on the tray, the food tray thing, and I'll just hold these points because they're stomach points. So you can generally have a feel and see if they're tender. And if they're tender, give them a rub. And you could probably even flip it. So we taught you about flipping the energy, and we'll go deeper into that maybe Thursday, or if not, next Tuesday. But we're going to start going into this stuff again because I stopped teaching it for a while. And the only way you were getting it is if you you bought the courses, right? But I very rarely put them out. So I'm going to start teaching you this. So you can thump them, you can just massage them, you can flip them and then massage them. I would flip them which is getting the polarity. I don't have time to teach you about that yet. And work that. But the end is the second toe, right? So you can flip the hand. So I'll have to tell you about the flipping. All right, so I'm going to have to go over time because some of you may not know what on earth I'm talking about. So your hand can be used as a magnet, right? You've got magnet that has the two sides, and so do our hand. So does our whole body has that polarity, right? So if you've got magnets, you can use them, but if you don't know what Gauss they are, what strength they are, don't worry about it. You can use your hand. It works just the same. And you're just flipping. So it's like north and south, right? North and south, north and south. You could do it like that, right? North and south, right? Then you're going to go to your big toe. And I'm not going to put my foot up because I'm not very ladylike, but go to the second toe and just flip the toe 2 or 3 times. Now, we can test all of this, but obviously, I can't do all of you. So you can come on here and you can ask questions, and maybe if you start asking questions, then I can test you online, right? But today we're just sort of getting a feel of it. So do both toes, meaning your energy, right? Well, the beginning point is just under the eyes, but if you do here, which is number 3, right? Stomach 3, right? Goes around and goes all the way down, right? We're doing the beginning or near the beginning and the ending point of the meridian. But flipping that toe, north, south, if you have a magnet, you can spin the magnet on those points. Oh, it's a magnet board stuck to the, right? You can spin the magnet on those points, but most of you won't have a magnet, so use your hand. You all with me? So stomach helps with overwhelm. So if you've got, so somebody was talking about overwhelm, they're feeling or they get overwhelmed. So we have this overwhelm at the stomach alarm point, right? It's also when you feel a bit nauseous, or if you get migraines and they're more of a stomach migraine, right? So between your sternum and your belly button, right, about middle way, is a stomach point. And you can just flip your hand, right? You can just open and close your hand. So try that. Or you can rub it like that. Open, close. This is what I like. Open, close, open, close. And just feel that. Now, if you don't need it, it won't hurt you, won't do anything. But if you need it, it will change your life. And some of you need it. The stomach links to grounding also because on the Chinese medicine 5 elements, the stomach is on the earth element here, right? This is earth element. So it's directly related to earth energy, but it's also a conduit into the earth. It helps us be connected. So some of you were on the call. I did a live whenever it was, Friday, I think. Was it Friday? Yeah, Friday. Relevate, we did that call. And I was talking about being linked to the earth. I'll go back over that on Thursday. For those of you that weren't there, we'll review it because it links to this, right? So if you're not earthed, well, not just thinking about tentacles or tendrils coming off the feet into the earth, all that visionary stuff, that can work, but this is more advanced. So if you're working that if you're really having a lot of troubles earthing or have a lot of inflammation, the connection to the earth's not great. Right? So have I lost you? Do you understand that piece? And I know you do, Rebel, because you're here all the time, right? But other people that may just have come on for the first time and they're like, what on earth? Because this is advanced. Maybe not to you ladies because you hear me talk a lot, but it is. It's not 101. It's not even 102. It's not even 3. It's like it's advanced energetics. Okay, so overwhelm, we can work with that stomach alarm point. Yeah, see, Jen's saying it's very new to her. So Jen, are you following? Is this making sense? Because if it's not, I'll go back over it. So we've got the alarm point. So how you measure it, you go between the belly button and the sternum, and you find that middle point, right? There's a middle point there. And you can just hold that point with a 3-finger notch, or I tend to like to put my hand flat. Let's put my hand flat. So just sit here with your hand flat on that point, because I've got my hand here now and I can feel the heat. I can feel it's like, oh, it's sucking this up. It likes it. Some of you won't feel a thing. It's all good. My energies are very much, if they're going to go out, this is why I know all about stomach, all about, like, I know all the stuff, all the good stuff, because that's how my system would go out. Is that earthing, right, through that stomach line, because my energy is very fast and very expanded, and it didn't really want to be earthed, right? It didn't want to really be here. It liked to flit off and not, right? So some of you are like that. Some of you are very solid in here, grounded, but you want to be more expanded. So have you got your hand on your stomach alarm point? Can you feel it? Does it feel nourishing? I'm just staying here for a minute because it feels really nourishing. Meaning it's like you could just go into it. There's so much warmth and depth, right? That shows me that I needed that. I needed that. My body's loving just that touch. Okay, so I think I'll leave it at that for those pieces, because it is actually a lot. So why did I tell you about the stomach? Yeah, some of you aren't feeling anything. That's cool. And ask yourself if you do feel anything, because you might be shut down. You may be shut down. When you're saying you're sensitive, what does that mean? Because there's sensitivity that you feel everything. So if I even traced your meridian, you would feel it, right? You're so sensitive to that degree. Others of you, it's more of a how do I describe it? It's more how your nervous system is navigating particular things. But everything else is still going on. It's just shut down a little. So we can start looking at that, right? What's on, what's off, what's frozen, what's flowing. Yeah, okay. Sensitive to foods, environment, smells, medication, people. That came up this morning. I was thinking about stomach and spleen, which creates those sensitivities, right? Sensitives to, you can't metabolize your environment. So what I'm going to say for that, it's more we go into spleen, but spleen is also on that earth element. It's here. I know that's a bit of a mess, but for spleen, I'm going to give you this, and then we're going to go over to the inner circle. If you come under your arm, so you just put your hand straight out like that and come in under where your bra is if you wear one. Some of you may not wear bras, not because you're a man, just because you may not, but some of you might identify as a man or something in between. All right, so where your thumb is, just sort of where you would that bra strap would be if you wore one, give it a bit of a rub. Just give it a rub around there and just notice if there's some tenderness. May not be, that's cool. Rub around. Anyone got any tenderness? So you can, like rubbing it or thumping it. So I put my hands like that, so my thumb is flat. So when I thump it, it doesn't hurt, because I don't like my bony fingers poking into me, right? But you might not have bony fingers, but give it a thump, because this is the spleen point, is spleen 21, but you don't need to know that. But you just give it a thump. If you do that regularly, right? If you take medication, it'll help you metabolize it better. Because when spleen's out, you can't metabolize the world very well, right? You can't metabolize what you digest internally, like food, medications, drink, but you also will have challenges metabolizing your experiences, which is what that comment tells me. Sensitive to food, sensitive to environment, sensitive to smell, sensitive to medication, sensitive to people, not metabolizing the environment. Now, we're not going to go into this today. We're going to shift over, but come back, right? Come back and we'll continue. You can tell me what's going on and I can start to help you, okay? Find out what's actually going on and give you some first aid, right? Triple warmer is up here again. You know, this is just extra information. But triple warmer is an energetic arm of the nervous system, and it pulls first. We have taught this for as long as I can remember, probably 20 odd years, right? That that triple warmer pulls first from spleen, but I'm starting to see some differences. But traditionally and generally, triple warmer will pull from spleen first because they're in polarity, right? Triple warmer is the masculine and spleen is the feminine on this crossover, right? And so when triple warmer needs more energy to keep you alive, it will pull from that spleen energy. Does that make sense? So therefore, spleen gets depleted over time, which gives you more sensitivities, more inflammation. Inflammation creates illness, and that long-term comes into chronic health and whatnot. We spiral into the fear of the fear of the fear of the fear of the fear, right? So what we can do is energize, give spleen a little bit of extra juice, which is thumping is a really easy one. You just do it maybe 10 times, a couple of times a day. Move on. Especially if they're sore. If they're too sore to thump, is anyone got, it's just too sore, it's too tender, you can place your hand. Actually, you can do the triple warmer spleen hug, right? So this hand, one hand on the elbow, because that's a triple warmer point on the elbow, right? Well, the back of the elbow. You get what I mean? Like just, so you just put your hand there and the other hand is on that point under the arm, and you can sit and hold them like that. That's called a triple warmer spleen hug. So you're giving spleen a little bit of love, and you're also giving triple warmer a bit of love. because they're trying to keep you alive. They're trying to keep you alive, right? So you can do that on both sides. Let's do it on both sides, right? And try that for like 3 minutes, something like that. Sit back, maybe listen to music or watch TV or go and watch nature or read while you're reading, you know. So there's a little bit for spleen. And so we're sort of working here, right? So spleen, we're giving some energy by giving it some love, by thumping or tapping or just holding. And then as triple warmer is taking energy from it to keep your stress response going, right? We'll talk about that another day, right? I'll teach you about triple warmer. The whole thing will be about triple warmer, right? So we can either prevent triple warmer from taking, or we can give more energy for triple warmer to take. And often what I've found is if we go directly towards triple warmer, it can really go on strong, because it gets like it's like if it's a terrified cat and you try to catch it, it goes sort of more wild, you know, or somebody who's really scared. So coming in through spleen and just supporting spleen is a nice, gentle way when you're not used to moving energy or working with your energies. Because anything you start to move, and especially if you've got, so listen to this, if you've got any autoimmune, MS, fibromyalgia, anything like that, anything to do with, well, everything's immune, you know, but those typical sort of immune system diagnosis, then you go one thing at a time. Slow it right down. Okay. Does anyone have any? You can just let me know privately if you do, just so I know. So any of these would be fine. They're gentle, right? So what we did today is pretty gentle, won't harm you, but just know anything that you're moving, that energy is moving and shifting, it's creating small, subtle changes. It's subtle energy. And wherever there's change, your nervous system will be going, oh, what's going on? So if you have chronic health issues, go slow. And if you want to come here, let me know. Just say, you know, I have an autoimmune. You don't have to tell me the ins and outs of it. Then I can make sure that I bring some of that stuff in so that it's done slowly. All it will do is it's like flushing your system and the toxins are released. And if you release all the toxins at once, has anybody done a detox where it's like just this release of all the toxins at once, and you feel a little not so nice, right? You feel a little blah, right? So particularly for people with autoimmune or like, you know, chronic long-term illness, there could be, you may feel it. So drink some water to flush any toxins that you may have moved. But this is pretty gentle. But a caveat, you know, go to your medical professional and ask about, you know, anything you've got concerns about. I'm not a medical doctor, right? So I can tell you about the energetics and the nervous system. I am a psychotherapist. I'm a sensory motor psychotherapist, somatic trauma, complex trauma profession, but I am not I think you call them MDs here. We call them GPs in Australia. Okay. So get that looked at. All right. Have a drink. Just scan your body. Just be like, here I am today. Here I am, feeling into the self. And notice what's going on for you. So who's still here? I don't even know who's still here. Who's still here? I think, Lisa, M.A., Deb, Rebel. I think Jen's still here. Okay. Some of you will watch the replay. So if you do this, you watch the replay, you may come on and watch later. So a bunch of you said that you'll come on later and watch the replay. Ask questions. And even if you can't come live, I can answer them and you can watch the next replay, right? Or I can answer them in the thread. Or do them and let me know what you experienced or what you felt. So then, I can help guide that next piece. Because obviously I'm not teaching you a whole class. I'm teaching you little first aid bits. And today, what I touched on was stomach. Stomach wanted to be talked about today. Stomach's a very neglected part of our systems, I believe. We what's sexy or what's cool or what's whatever you want to label it, it's generally not stomach, right? But if you think about what the stomach does, if you think about the human, this is also when I was really looking at the biology of the human and the like energetically what we actually do and we consume and release. We're just a tube. We're a digestive tube. Think about that. Like we put energy in. What we put in to our mouth. So this is how my mind works. No wonder I drove myself, a little nutso. I'd be looking at when I eat something or when I drink something, when does that stop being it and become more me? Right, at this end. And then at the other end, when does it stop technically being me and it's then excrement, right? This is how my mind works. And I looked at that intricately many years ago in my 30s. And it's like when I'm eating food, when I'm cutting the vegetables from the garden and I'm saying, I'm letting it know it may be dying as it is, but it's going to be living as part of me. So think about that. It's a little out there. We are in this ocean of love and mercy, right? We're all connected. But then in that relational way, consciously, how we can be in relationship. And it's like saying, well, this tea, hey, tea, do you want to come for a ride? Have a drink? And then it works through, right? And it goes through your system. And parts of it, yeah, it's funny, but it's sort of cool and nerdy at the same time. Okay, so anyway, let's move on from that. But food for thought. So Deb's put in a comment, I had a cool experience after working with stomach. I did a few vagus nerve resets, and then I started to see an interconnected yellow gold interconnect weave around my room. I just flashed on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride at Disney. I haven't seen that, but yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, don't lick the toad, okay? Don't lick the toad. It'll either kill you or you'll go on Mr. Toad's wild adventure. Anyway, So I'll leave it at that for now. Let me know how you go. It was advanced. And like just let's look at this, bam, right? So if it made no sense to you and you couldn't follow me, let me know so that I can hear that. If you were able to get something from it and you think you understood, let me know. And then, so I can work out at what level I continue at. I'm happy to go wherever you want, whatever you're needing, right? But stomach came up today, and I feel that a lot of you will benefit from working that stomach, not only for the reason of, it being on the earth element, but also for this earthing part, right? And what they'll do. So, all right, we're going to change over now. So those of you that are on the Zoom or coming over to the inner circle, let's have a couple of minutes break and then we'll come back over. So at, 5 past the hour, so come back at 7 past and we'll get started. So for the rest of you, thank you for joining us. And these lives are for you, right? So if you show up and you want information, I will share. That's what I'm here for. Like it lights me up. That's what I'm on the planet for, right? To serve you. So what's going on for you? What do you need? Let me see if and how I can support your journey in this way. If you need more, like obviously if you've got chronic stuff going on, you'll need more. So we can talk about what your needs might be. But if you just need to be tuned up a little, here and there, then come to these lives. All right. And until we meet again, may the blessings be. Much love.